Hey guys, I am Thomas Peterson. I am joined here with Talithea Duncan, the president of the Trenton Education Association. Ms. Duncan, I'm glad to have you here today. How are you?
I'm good, Thomas. Thank you for having me.
And we're here to discuss the TEA's response to Trenton Public School District's reopening plan. Where should we begin?
Well, we can begin first by saying that our teachers and our staff members, they're eager, to get back to work. We all miss our children. We all miss our hugs and our love that we get from our students every day. However, we think there are significant holes in the Trenton Public Schools reopening plan, and we have a great many deal of concerns.
Let's talk about the scheduling of when they want the students to come back to school.
Okay, well, the scheduling piece is we're not really sure that the district gave parents a clear view of what the schedule is supposed to look like. So students will come back to school in two cohorts, an A cohort and a B cohort. Students will get instruction 2 days a week, and they will be virtual the other 3 days during the week. What the district is not telling the parents, these are not full days. Students will be dismissed a half a day and will go home to get afternoon supplemental instruction should they log back in. The district has also not told the parents that when they do send the children back to school, the children are going to come back to school and they're going to be sitting in their classroom with the teacher behind plexiglass, and the teacher will still be teaching them remotely, just like we're doing from home. The teacher is not going to be having small groups. The kids are not going to be getting in groups because we know with the CDC guidelines, that is not possible. So our issue is, why would you risk the health and safety of staff and students and our community members when we're not sure exactly how COVID is spread or how it affects children? And the fact of the matter is, the teachers are going to be doing the same exact thing, and by disrupting the schedule, you're actually causing the kids to lose instructional time by reopening the schools. So that's our major issue with the scheduling piece. Not to mention, they have not come up with a plan or gave us a feasible plan for busing. How are you going to bus the children? What about parents that have children in multiple schools? Then they're going to go back to the original school schedule. So if you're in high school, you're going to start school at 7:30. If you're in middle school, you're going to start at 8. And if you're in elementary, you're going to start at 8:45. So when it's time to pick these kids up on half a days, that is going to cause a hardship for the parents, because how many of us have jobs where we can just leave to go get child A at 12 o'clock from this school, child B from 12:30 from this school, and child C 1 o'clock from the elementary schools? It's just not well thought out in terms of scheduling.
When in school, will the students change classes, or they sit in the same class for the whole duration?
And that's another concern of ours. Based on the CDC guidelines, even if you did come back with the reopening plan, we believe that everybody should be on the same plan. It's supposed to be minimal movement. The district has allowed different principals to come up with different plans in the different schools. So if you have a child in middle school at Dunn, for instance, your student would be moving. If you have a child at Gregory, your child will stay in the same seat all day. And if they need a special art or music, the specialist would come to your child. The only time your child will be able to get up is to use the restroom, and at dismissal to grab their lunch and go out the door. So that's one of our big problems. There's no consistency across the board. It's like every principal chose to do what they felt was best for the school. And I'm not saying that the principals are not doing what's best for children, but we think that during this pandemic, students should not be moving. We shouldn't even be in the building right now. I didn't even talk about the air quality issues that we've had before the pandemic.
Very true. It's definitely a lot on the children and the parents. What about the cleaning of the classrooms, and how will that work? Are the schools equipped with the proper tools necessary to ensure the rooms are cleaned appropriately? And will the custodians?
I'm sorry. So let me say this. I commend the district on purchasing the proper PPE. We have top of the line PPE. We have great HEPA air purifiers.
Wow.
They did provide kits, and they do have kits for the teachers once, we do go back into the buildings. But what has not been fully fleshed out is your air quality and your occupancy rates changes. So when the air quality and things were done, the building was empty. Nobody did a run with the amount of students and adults that we will have in the building to see how that air quality may diminish. Additionally, the things that they bought for us to, keep our stuff sanitized, we have to be trained on that, because there are certain chemicals that you're not supposed to bring into the school. It's all out of NJDOE. So like if I had Clorox wipes, I'm just not supposed to willy-nilly bring my Clorox wipes in the classroom because they're hazardous materials. We have not been trained on that. We have requested that. They did say they would accommodate us, but like I said, they're looking to hire 44 more custodians because they're going to have to clean on an hourly basis, if not more. And I'm not sure how close they are to achieving that goal of getting those 44 additional custodians, but it was approved at the last board meeting.
So yeah, the custodians will be the ones responsible for sanitizing the classrooms.
Correct.
Each night.
They are supposed to sanitize them multiple times during the day, the bathrooms, when the kids leave. And then Wednesday, the all remote day, is for all the buildings to be deep cleaned between the two cohorts.
And let's also talk about you said the hiring of why do you feel give me 1 second here. I'm going to jump back when you said that there was loopholes in the lesson plans.
Oh, the
Back to
scheduling
beginning,
piece.
yeah.
Well, the scheduling piece. So questions we have. What are we going to do if parents don't come and pick up their children? Who's going to be there to supervise the children if parents cannot get off of work? Who's going to be there to receive the children off the bus when they get dropped off in the middle of the day? The after school programs that we normally would send our kids to, like the CYO, Boys and Girls Club. We are asking questions. Is there going to be midday transportation to take these kids to these programs? Most of our parents already have their kids in a program like that help them with remote learning all day. So if we come back to school and implement this schedule, they're going to lose that part of the program because, like I said, who's going to take the kids there? The programs themselves may lose grant money because they won't have kids there all day, because we're giving our parents this false sense of we're going to go back to school in May and our new normal. And the kids are not going to be receiving, like I said, traditional direct instruction. The teacher is going to be at her desk on a computer with Zoom or Google Meet, just like us. And your child is going to be sitting at a desk on a computer. The children that decide to stay remote, that's another thing. They want our teachers to teach the children in front of them in the room, as well as the children at home learning remotely. There has been no training provided to our teachers to synchronously teach. We don't have the equipment that you need to synchronously teach effectively. You need cameras, you need microphones. If I, as the teacher, need to write something on the board, what am I going to do? Pick up my laptop and walk to the board? It's just, there are too many unanswered questions that they don't have answers for us. What's going to happen if a B student comes to school on an A day? Where are you going to fit those children? If we're already supposed to be limiting capacity, where are you going to put those kids? And you're not supposed to have kids in big groups. So normally, if you have kids, you might split them up with the teachers. What's going to happen when our teachers are sick and can't come to work? The district doesn't have any subs. They decided last year, once we were going remote, they weren't going to utilize our sub outsourcing partners. So now Many schools have been in person. Those districts have swallowed up all the substitutes. When I asked the districts, what is going to happen when 5 to 7 teachers in one building are out at the same time? You have the potential to have 60 children that will not have a teacher. We just don't think it's a smart move to disrupt the instructional program for students for 12 in-person instruction days. Not to mention testing. State
Right.
testing is May 17th through the 21st. So that you're losing 2 additional instructional days. So now you're down to 10 in-person instructional days. If you take out Memorial Day and Juneteenth, now you're down to 8 instructional days. And because students have not been in buildings in over a year, any educator or anyone who's worked in education knows the first 6 weeks of school, you are doing routines and procedures. There is really no meaningful book curriculum instruction going on, especially with the little kids. They're learning how to walk in a line, wash your hands, put up materials, take out materials. So if that normally takes 6 weeks, there goes your other 6 days of in-person instruction. No meaningful instruction is going to be taking place. And when we asked the district that, the response of one of the assistant superintendents was, we know that there's not going to be meaningful instruction taking place. We know that it's really going to be routines, protocols, and procedures, but we want to do a trial run before September. So you mean to tell me you are willing to risk the lives of students, their families, and teachers to do a trial run with protocols and procedures? These kids can finish out the end of the year and get meaningful instruction as they have been for the past 15 to 18 months. It makes no sense.
Many people are also asking what makes Trenton different from other districts who already have students back in school, such as Hamilton.
So the difference is, I'm glad you asked that question. The difference is the COVID rate in Hamilton is far lower than the COVID rate in Trenton. We have a lot of undocumented citizens in Trenton, and many of them live in multi-generational households. Many families live together. I can tell you, at the beginning of this year when we met with the City of Trenton Health team, in one home, it was 7 different families, I believe, and about 10 of them had COVID. It's hard to contact trace. Hamilton schools are newer than Trenton schools. I mean, I can go on and on for days about the difference between our suburb of Hamilton and our city of Trenton. And being that it's only 7 point whatever square miles, the density and the ability for the spread of COVID is much higher. And that's just the bottom line. Many of our people in Trenton either are leery of getting the vaccine, and because we don't want to be Tuskegee 1932.
Right.
Many undocumented people may be afraid because when they ask you to fill out certain aspects on the form to sign up for COVID, the vaccine, it's a litany of reasons why it's different for Trenton.
What is the district's plan on addressing students that come to school and develop a fever?
Okay, so every school, like I said, I don't want to just straight bash the district because, like I said, they've bought some top of the line PPE. We've done building walkthroughs as an association, and for the most part, not all the schools. We weren't happy with the setup of all the schools, but for the most part, each school has an isolation room. And if a student comes to school and they're exhibiting signs of COVID, they will go to the isolation room, and the nurse or who was ever designated by the district will call for that student to be picked up.
Will rapid test kits be on site for testing of students and teachers if they do display symptoms?
Absolutely not. And so that's what I'm saying when there are holes and unanswered questions. There's been no discussion about testing, rapid testing, even before we allow kids to come in. There's a form, okay, that they're going to ask people to fill out for their children before they send their children to school. But I'm going to tell you, pre-COVID, Thomas, kids were sick, and because parents need to work because they have bills to pay, they would give them Motrin and
Right.
send them to school anyway. And so that is not a surefire way. They also don't have a plan for when the parents fill out the form online and the kids are received at the building. They don't know what the procedures or protocol will be if a kid shows up and their parent didn't fill out the form. And I'll just tell you one caveat that I'm sure you might think is hilarious. When we did the building walkthroughs, all the different heads of the union leadership, a couple of us filled out the form and said we did have COVID symptoms. I filled out the form and said my name was Billie Holiday, and I was let in. The other union heads were let in, and nobody
Wow.
caught it until we had a debriefing meeting with the board legal counsel when he met with all the union heads. So the plan looks good on paper. There are no SOPs, protocols, or procedures. They don't have any. We have a couple of staff members in the building now. Protocols and CDC guidelines are not being followed. Principals are having meetings and they're not wearing masks. My own members are not wearing masks. The members that are, in the building. You're not supposed to congregate. Some people
Right.
are congregating in the main office. Nobody is addressing it. There is no plan to address it. And so while the building may be outfitted with the proper machines and ventilators, the people that are responsible for setting up the procedures, protocols, and SOPs have not produced any, implemented any, and the ones that they did produce, they are not enforcing them. We have
So
had staff members that had COVID. I will tell you, we've had staff members lose loved ones to COVID. One of my members right now has been fully vaccinated. She received her first shot in December. She received her second Pfizer shot January 9th. She is currently hospitalized on oxygen, getting remdesivir because she is COVID-19 positive. So there's a false narrative that, oh, we got the vaccine, we're safe. No, she is in the hospital, very sick.
it's very scary. So let's talk about the mental health of the students and the families being at home, which can cause a lot of stress.
Correct. So let's talk about that. We know there are social emotional issues. Our teachers are experiencing it. Our students are experiencing it. Our own kids who are in the same situation are experiencing it. As an association, we gave the district ideas like, okay, we know that there's a social emotional aspect. Instead of trying to rush to get kids in the building, why don't we use those resources to get families and students some resources to help them with those social emotional issues? And the bottom line is, Thomas, nobody wants to listen to sound reasoning. We have an acting superintendent. There are 9 finalists for the job. I'm sure he might be one of them. I'm sure there's political pressure. We as an association asked, Governor Murphy said, we'll definitely be in school in September. Why the rush? And I was told Governor Murphy's office called all the superintendents and asked them, were they, that we needed to go back to school. I specifically asked, are you forced to go back to school? Will we lose funding if we don't go back? The answer to that was no, but basically he's saying we have to go back to school. So my follow-up question is, even with the numbers being the way they are, because when we initially started talking about the reopening plan, the transmission rate was 0.883. The transmission rate now is 1.09. The country is bracing for this next surge and wave. Why are we, knowing that people are gonna travel for spring break, knowing that people are gonna be in groups that are not recommended by the CDC, why are we putting people's lives in jeopardy? It makes no sense. And to me, it's a political ploy. It's a political ploy by the governor because it's an election year. and people are saying we have to open back up. It's a political ploy in Trenton because the superintendent job is up, and we need a permanent person. And so I don't want our staff members, our students, or our community members to be used in a political atmosphere for a governorship or a superintendentship. It's ridiculous.
Okay, wow, absolutely. So what about the special needs students who need the in-person instruction? How does staying at home benefit them?
So let me just talk about that too. Like I said, this is not an easy thing. I'm sure as a parent, if you had to choose over in-person instruction and your child living or dying, or your child possibly passing the virus to another elderly family member in your house, you would choose your child living or your family member living all day over in-person instruction. The fact of the matter is, when the district sent out the survey, I know one teacher in particular, she teaches an autism class. All of her parents said, I'm not sending my kid back. There's no plan for our students with special needs that may need diaper changes, right? The district, we asked the question about that. Who's going to be changing diapers and, all of that stuff? Oh, we're going to go back to the company that we basically told we don't need you for the past year. So all the people we were getting are working in other districts. What's going to happen when we have a special needs student that needs something that we cannot give them because we don't have the proper personnel and staff? So I would venture to say children are resilient if we put the proper resources in place to help our parents with special needs children at home. And the numbers are better. In September, we will work as hard as we can because that's what we do as teachers. We make it so every other profession is possible. So we will work to make sure our students get what they need. Most definitely.
Thank you.
Well,
Is it true that the teachers are supposed to report back to school soon? If so, will they be reporting?
so at this time, the district is asking or directing teachers to return to the buildings on April 19th, which would be 2 weeks before their proposed May 3rd reopening. And as the president of the Trenton Education Association, at the direction of my executive committee and my action team, we are telling our teachers, no, they should not report to the buildings on April 19th. They should continue providing quality direct instruction remotely because the health and safety issues that we have regarding protocols, procedures, SOPs by the district has not been answered to our liking. And we feel like our members will be in harm's way should they report to their respective buildings. So no, the association is telling our members, do not report to the buildings. However, we are still willing and able and will continue to work remotely and provide instruction to our students like we have been doing for the past 15 to 18 months.
Let me ask you this. If they don't report, can that result in negative actions being taken against the teachers?
They are reporting, they're logging in and teaching their students. No students are in the building. No students will be left unsupervised if they don't report to the buildings. So they are reporting for work. The students will be able to log on and they will have a teacher in front of them. The teachers will just not be teaching from the buildings. They will still be reporting for work and carrying out all of their job duties.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also the COVID numbers are starting to go back up in New Jersey.
And that's my thing. How can you sit up here and say, I'm moving forward with this plan, even though we know the numbers are going up, even though the CDC director was moved to tears on the news the other day because she knows it's about to be crazy again, even though we know that Moderna, the people who made Moderna said the vaccine is not as effective on these new variants. They don't know if you're going to need a third dose, right, of the Moderna shot, or if you're going to need a booster shot. So why would we be putting people's lives in danger when we have all of these things that are unknown? It just makes no sense. And It's hard to do the right thing, right? And it's easy to say, well, Hamilton went and Ewing went and Heightstown went, and well, so what? I'm going to use an analogy that my grandma used to say. If they jumped off the bridge, would we jump too? No, we would not. We have to do what's right for the people in the city of Trenton, not Hamilton, Ewing, East Windsor, and our surrounding areas. I'm sorry.
Wow, you've given us a lot to think about today.
Great.
Are there any other closing remarks you'd like to leave us with?
I just want the parents and the community members to know our teachers love our kids, love your kids, our students. We will continue providing quality instruction. We just want to do it in the safest way possible, right? And parents ask the tough questions, right? I'm sure the district did not tell parents, if you didn't answer the survey, we're going to assume you're sending your kids to school, when we know there could be a number of reasons why parents didn't answer the survey. They didn't get it. Their internet might be wonky. The phone might be cut off. And so the district is inflating the numbers of how many parents actually want their students, back in school. I encourage parents to sign up to speak at the board meeting that's going to take place on April 26th to see if maybe the district has answers for them, because they don't have them for us as association leadership. And it's quite sad. It's quite sad.
Thank you so much for speaking with us today, Ms. Duncan. And thank you to everyone who tuned in today. We appreciate you all. I'm Thomas Peterson. Again, thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day.